and welcome to the Path Radio Spotlight. I'm your host, Guido Perino, and with me on the show from the bone-crushing, noisy band called Skull Riot, on lead vocals and bass, Jay Ferron. Welcome to the show, Jay. Thanks for being here. How you doing?
Thank you, Widow. I appreciate it. I'm excited to be here with you.
We are excited. We're going from Toronto all the way to LA,
Yeah. Hey, I love that.
eh? Concrete to concrete.
Yes. Welcome to the jungle, baby.
Yeah. So you're in Los Angeles, and I've had a lot of folks on the show from LA on this one and my other show. But I always like to ask, because I always get like, something different.
hmm
What's your favorite thing about LA?
The beach. I love
Nice.
the fact that I can go there, and it's just like a 30-minute drive. Because I come from Mexico City, and for me, the beach was like a 4-hour drive, the closest one. So I couldn't go that often, and here I can. Uh, I can't go in the water because it's freezing cold every time. Doesn't matter the year, the time
Really?
of the year. But I love it. I just love being there and walking around there and like feeling the fresh air.
So
That's I think what I love about LA.
yeah,
Everything else is doubtful.
that's awesome, man. You go all the way to LA, and you're sitting at the beach. But so you said you come from Mexico City.
Yeah.
What brought you to LA, and what made you stay?
Um, well, I decided to pursue like a more focused career on music, and at that point in my life, uh, I stopped playing with like I was like in 4 bands at the time, and all of them at I don't know why for some reason they all decided to stop uh, at that like in 2 months. Like in 2 months, I had no bands whatsoever. I went from 4 bands to zero in 2 months, and everything changed for my life because I thought I was gonna make it with one of those 4 bands over there, and nothing happened. And I was like, you know what? This is a good time. It's a good time to make a change then. And I decided to just come here and made a master's in film scoring and take it from there, see what destiny had for me and see if I could make it and stay longer here somehow.
And forget
Yeah.
about the 4 bands that broke up, man. Forget about
Yeah, hell
keep moving
to
forward.
hell with them.
So look, I'm gonna pause the music thing for just a second because we started talking LA, and you come there from Mexico City.
Mhm.
You ever worry about like all the earthquake stuff, and like you ever worry like it's gonna break off into the ocean and stuff?
I do. I For the longest, let me tell you, for the longest I didn't want to watch the movie San Andreas because because I was afraid that if I watched it, I was like, oh, this is all gonna go to hell. Um, but I mean, I come from Mexico City. We had a very big culture of earthquake, like
Yeah.
since we had a huge, devastating earthquake in '85. So after that, like the whole country and well, the whole city um, is very aware of what to do in case of an earthquake, and we always have like during school, we were all trained to with how do you call this when they do all this fake
The drills.
drills.
Yeah.
Um, so it's already what to do if something happens. But the thing about LA is that everything is built out of wood here. So it feels like everything moves like, you know what I mean? Like it in Mexico, everything's concrete and you feel it like after a while. Like if it starts, if the earthquake starts and it's big, you'll feel it immediately, and then you're scared because you know that if all this concrete moved like that, you better run, right? But here, like a 4.5 earthquake, it lasts 3 seconds, but you feel it like it's like a 7.5. Man, it's like yes. Everything moves, everything sounds, noise everywhere, and then it stops, and it's like should I run? Should I stay? Should I just play music and hope that this doesn't happen again? I don't know.
Have
It's
you have you
weird
had
here.
any questionable moments? Like, have you had moments where you're like, uh-oh?
Yeah, yeah. I remember like probably 5 years ago, I was living in Pasadena and we were watching TV, my girl and me, we were watching TV and I don't know where this earthquake started, but it was like this whiplash. It was like, and it literally bumped us out of our chairs, like out of the sofa. It was like, whoa, it stands up. And we were like immediately looking at the window, what was going on, and it was not stopping. And we went back out, like we started going down the stairs, and we saw no one was coming out of the apartments, like no one. And we're like, what's going on? Like, are they not feeling this? We were the only ones outside. It was, I don't know, it was super crazy, but that one lasted the longest, I think. I've had a couple of uh 2 seconds scary moments here as well.
Hmm.
Um in the middle of the night where you feel like that whiplash again and it wakes you up and you're like, is this gonna last longer than these 2 seconds or can I go back to sleep?
I think you were onto something earlier. So the next time you feel anything like that, I want you to grab your bass guitar and I want you to plug in. And I just want you to channel whatever you're feeling during that earthquake and
Oh,
make a
that'd be
song. And
interesting.
make a song, right? Like just channel the earthquake energy. Maybe call it a song earthquake or something. I'd love to see what comes
I
out,
got you. I'll
right?
do one just for you,
Right?
man.
I
Yeah, yeah.
gotta I gotta hear it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I'm gonna
Absolutely.
pull this back. I'm gonna thank you for sharing those things. I'm gonna pull it back to music. Look, you talked
Yeah,
about the Cornell School of Contemporary Music. You go there and you get your master's degree in film scoring,
yeah,
you're in LA. Look, at that point in time, you're doing that as your thing, right? Like I'm going to
yeah.
music school basically. Looking back, is Skull Riot ever in your vision back then as you're doing that music stuff, the music school?
Uh, Not really, because I was thinking of composing, of doing mostly film, TV stuff. I was thinking of just channeling into that. Playing with, I was playing with other bands too. Like
Yeah.
immediately I came here, and as a bass player, apparently you can have a good career. Like there's not a lot of good bass players here, so um, immediately I was like into two, three bands. So I was like, okay, I can keep playing and keep having fun, but I'm gonna focus on this. So when I finished my master's, it changed again because the only opportunity I got to have a job that was able to pay me at that moment was being a recording engineer at a studio.
Mm.
Uh, and that's how I got involved with Mauricio Garza. Um, he's the owner of the studios I work at right now, and he gave me the chance. He taught me a little bit about what to do, and here I am 8 years after doing engineering instead of film composing. So Skull Riot was not in my plans really. It was not until probably the pandemic that
Yeah.
I had a little bit more time of my own, and I was again with no projects, and I decided to do something for myself, something that I could do by my own, and out of necessity, I guess, and out of like I would say selfishness as well. Like I got inspired again by bands like Royal Blood and Death from Above, your national uh, people as well. Um, and I decided to go with this concept and try to do a duo thing.
Yeah, it's funny how, we take a direction in life and then certain things happen and certain paths open up and then, but at the same time, you probably can still draw on some of that experience with the schooling stuff and bring it into what you're doing now. Look, Jay,
Absolutely.
um, so I've been saying Jay here, like occasionally
Yeah.
saying, "Hey, Jay," and people listening, because we're gonna do two things, right? As people listening, some people
Yeah.
don't. we're gonna release this on audio first, and then there's a video.
Okay,
So
cool.
the video folks are gonna see it, and they're
Yeah,
gonna know what I'm talking about. But the audio folks are gonna be like, they just hear me say the words, right? They don't see us.
right.
Um,
Yeah.
so they hear me say J. But is your name like li literally the letter J, or is it Jay, or is it short form for something, or is this like Skull Riot secret stuff? Like we're just gonna keep it on the down low.
I think I've been asked that too many times, but I'll tell you this. Um, it all started with J, that just the letter J
Yeah,
dot and my last name, which is Ferron.
yeah.
Um, and everyone here was like saying J, 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 right? But even they didn't know if it was Jay or just the letter J, and so they didn't know how to approach me. So I was like, you know what? It just sounds like Jay.
Let's roll with
I'm
it.
just gonna roll with it and just say it's Jay. But I still sign as J dot Fern. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
So we're in Prince territory here. Like you're not quite a symbol, but we just got a J, so we're just going with that. And
Yeah.
like you've already you're going, hey, I'm doing the Prince thing. No, I'm just bugging you. I really like it. It's kind of cool. Has some mystery to it. Okay, so I'm gonna get back to the music. You're doing music. You're working as a recording, mixing, and mastering engineer, and you said the Room Studios. So shout out to the Room
Mhm.
Studios. You're also
Thank you.
freelancing some film production and composition. You got a lot
Yeah.
on the go. Uh, how much does helping others make music and create cinema blend into your own what you're doing now with your music journey? And do you feel like you're getting pulled in one direction over the other sometimes, or does it blend?
That's a very interesting question. I think being on this side of the creative process of making music, it opens up not just the palette of possibilities, but also the influences that I can get for my own stuff, you know. If I work with an amazing vocalist and I get to record them and I get to be a part of all that process, I can see firsthand what things he's doing or she's doing that sounds awesome, and what techniques she's using right away. And and I can probably implement that a little bit on my side. Um, Also, the fact that I'm engineering and taking care of the audio, for me now, it opens a lot of possibilities on my sound. Now I can dial it a little bit more how I want to. Because for the longest, I was not happy with my vocals. Like I was not confident enough to sing and step onto a mic, and like I'm not a singer whatsoever. I'm still not. That's why I scream on it. But at least now my screams, I'm kind of happy with how it sounds, and it's just getting better. And that's, I think, because of the fact that I have now this knowledge, and I work on this side of the creative process, if you want to say it that way.
That's like just what you just did there is it exudes a lot of confidence. Like to say, like I don't think I'm a really a singer because I have this style or I do it this certain way. But the reality is like you really are a singer. Like I mean, I know you employ this technique. But even when you listen to your songs, you bridge from verse to verse and lyric to lyric, and you got to have some of that going on. You can't just you're not just a screamer, Jay.
I appreciate that, man. I've
Yeah,
worked hard on
yeah.
on that side of my musicality, for sure, because I'm definitely not confident at all in that part, in
Wow.
that aspect. But I do work on it, and hopefully I get better with the next EP, and hopefully I get better with the album, and hopefully I can deliver live as well, for all the people that come see us. So that's my main goal, more than playing bass. I want to sing better.
Front man. Look, you said you started this during the pandemic. There's a lot of stuff that evolved during the pandemic because people had time and they were exploring themselves. They were exploring,
Hmm.
who am I? What am I doing? Where am I going? All that sort of stuff. A lot of time to reflect. I've talked a lot to a lot of trio bands, and people really love the trio. But you're doing a duo with Skull Riot. How much of a load or pressure is it to have a duo band?
Well, let me tell you this a lot because there's no other way where to hide, you know? It's only me and the drummer. So if he messes up, like everybody knows the drummer messed up because there's no other instrument to hold you down. If I messed up, everybody knows I messed up because there's no other instrument to hide behind, you know? So in that side, at least the live side, it's a lot of pressure uh,
Yeah.
to have it down and to play right and to play it good. Um, that's technically one side. The other side live is there's only two people to put the energy into it, right? When you have four or five people on stage, like there's probably a lot more energy going on and a lot more energy where to pull from, where to push against, and like have something going on stage. Here, there's only two guys, and both of us are stuck and to either the mic or the pedal board or to the drums. Like there's no a lot of space I can run to and like interact and stuff like that. So that's a lot of pressure that I need to put into the energy, right? Into the live aspect of it. But I love the challenge. I love the challenge not only on the live side, but also on the technical part. Me just trying to keep keep it interesting, and not having the bass follow the guitar side all the time, and or the guitar riff follow the bass all the time. Like I don't want to feel like that all the time on the music. So it's interesting. I love the challenge of creating riffs that are entertaining for your ear, and that you can be like, oh, that's like I don't feel like it's always following. Like it's entertaining. It's different. It's light and or heavy, and I love it, and that's my goal. But I love the challenge, man. I love the pressure.
You could see, and as you're talking about it, I see you getting excited about it, and you're very authentic about
Yeah, I
loving
love
the
it.
challenge, right? But I'm just thinking, as I'm watching that, like as if I was to watch you two, it really shifts the focus, right? Because you go to a show, and you're right, you have like if you have multiple band members, you're watching, you're seeing, are they running, are they doing that? But it really shifts everything down to the music, down to the sound, right? So
Yeah,
as a fan, you're not watching the theatrics. You're listening to the music. You're more in tune with the music and stuff. But do you ever like so do you doing a duo, and there's some really awesome duos out there. You ever worried about being compared to them? Like, and I'll throw out White Stripes
all
as an example, you know?
all the time, and that's why I chose to go this route with the sound and the music of Skull Riot. I wanted to differentiate myself as much as possible from all of them, starting from the White Stripes, obviously, but like I mentioned, like Royal Blood, um, Death from Above,
Yeah.
1975. Um, who else? I mean, there's a new band right now, Type A Houston. They started as a duo, now they evolve as a trio. It's not everyone can hold it down as a duo. A Local H, but most of them are guitar oriented. The only one that was bass and drums was Royal Blood, and Death from Above. They is bass and drums, but he uses a keyboard as well.
Yeah.
So I said no keyboards. So Death from Above is away from me, and then I only had to deal with like Royal Blood. So I was like, I can't be alternative rock. I can't sound too pretty. I can't be too nice about it. I need to
Uh,
be more rock and more aggressive, and probably um, I saw this opportunity, and I didn't. I don't know if there's any other bands like in metal or heavy music doing a two piece, So I was like, let me try this. Let me see if I can figure out something for myself there.
I don't know if I've ever heard anybody call alt rock pretty. So that's
I
awesome.
mean, they sound good. They just are not like he's not screaming at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah. They're not,
He
"Arr,
sounds good.
arr."
Like there's no visceral thing going on.
So look, you're never gonna entertain going to a trio. Like the Skull Riot's a duo.
I think so. And we've been approached by a couple guitar players already
Yeah.
saying like, dude, I love what you're doing, but if I could just solo on top of it, I'll be like, I was like, yeah, if we do that, then let's make a new band because Skull Riot's gonna stay a duo, and
Yeah.
for the longest, as much as I can. If it gets too complicated at some point, then we'll deal with that. That's a problem for the future, Jay, not for me right now.
And you know what? It's neat that you just said that you would create another band because I was gonna say to you, is it easier to go into this like stoner type of metal, music that
Mhm.
you're doing as a duo? And you partially answer that because I think you're saying, look, it's this is what I want. This is the vision I had for this. This is the formula, and anything different wouldn't be this. It would be something else. So, but
Yeah,
it doesn't necessarily make it easier that playing that style of music just because you're a duo. It's independent of the number of people. This is the style. That's what you're going with, right?
absolutely.
Who's
I
who?
agree.
Who's the other Skull Riot assassin that delivers this booming sound with you?
His name is Sam Epstein. He's originally from New York City. He's a great dude, man. Like he has a lot of power. He hits the drum like no other drummer I play with. And he's just a great human being, man. Like we hit it off like from the beginning. So I was like, dude, you're the man. Please stay and play with me. Because I went through like six drummers before I even found Sam. Uh, so it was a pain in the neck, bro. For for not to say it in another way, but it took me a minute to find someone.
Hmm.
Like not everyone could fill in the spaces that I needed to be filled in. Not everyone had the power. Not everyone had the ambition. Not everyone had the presence. Like because we'd come back to the same point. It's a duel. So they either looking at him or looking at me, and there's no place to hide. This is like it's right there, you know. So it needs to be good. It needs to be everything in one, sounding powerful.
You know what's cool about this is that everything you say about this is so deliberate. Like you didn't fall into it. You didn't like nothing is an accident. You're not hoping that something happens. You're so deliberate with your approach on this and um like I'm gonna go back. You said, well,
Mm,
confidence. There's a lot of confidence in how you're approaching this and what you're doing. And I'm gonna bring this back to voice. Because you said, hey, it's pretty visceral, right? It's pretty hard, it's
yeah.
pretty coarse. Um, do you have to do anything special with your voice? Like, do you have to do voice therapy or do you do any like post recovery because of you're so hard on the vocals or
Um, so far, no. But I'm pretty sure if I keep doing it like that, I will at some point. But I found this guy is amazing on YouTube, and he gives a lot of tips on how to scream without hurting yourself. And he has a couple of videos that I've been doing regularly for warming up your vocals in order for you to
eh,
scream better. Um, and that's been a game changer because the first two shows I played with Sam, I was like, after the show, I couldn't talk that much. And towards the last song, I was not hitting the notes or whatever. I was like, ah. So I was like, I really need to find a solution for this because again, I'm not a singer. I'm not like trained for that. So
yeah.
I didn't know what to do. I was just screaming. Found this guy, watched a couple of videos, found his warm up videos, and started following him, and it made a change for sure.
Yeah.
And I was gonna say, like you were talking about this being very deliberate. It is, and it's I think the first project in my life that I know exactly what I want for it, and I know and I believe so much in the originality of it that at the same time I don't care what happens with it as long as it's you know what I mean, like as long as it's what I want to be out there.
Yeah.
So if people come and are like, oh, this is too screamy, I don't like it, it's fine, I don't care, like I know someone else will, some like somewhere, you know. And this is the like, for example, I tattooed the logo on my arm way before I met Sam, like way before I even had a drummer. I was like, this is gonna be something. I know it, and this is gonna be my last project, and I know it's gonna be good. So this is going on my body forever. And
That's awesome.
and thank God I found Sam, because if not, I would be finding some drummer right now.
That's awesome. Tattooed it on. Talk about conviction. So
Yeah,
it leads me to ask this question then, and I'm curious about it. Do you think that there's a void in the music world today for this style, for the sound that you're producing with Skull Riot then?
I think so. I think so. We are in between a lot of genres. Like it sometimes sounds stoner, sometimes sounds metal, sometimes sounds just hard rock, sometimes very punk. But like for example, right now there's a festival going on in Sacramento, Aftershock, and it's all metal, all metal.
Yeah.
There's no pop, and I think there's two rappers on it, and it's even heavier lineup than last year. Um, so I was impressed about that. Is and then there's a lot more heavy metal festivals coming up and popping up from in different sides of the world, even, you know.
Yeah.
So I think people are always said like, oh, rock is dead and metal is dead, but I think they're being very much alive, just overtaken by the spotlight of hip hop and pop and whatnot. But like, um, I think there is place for this kind of music, and a lot of people are still in need of this, because even people that don't like metal that much, um, they listen to it and they're like, "Huh, this is interesting. I haven't heard anything like this before. Especially you're a duo, you're doing this. Oh, that's crazy. Let me see what's going on." At least there's an interest.
Yeah, I gotta say, like, I know when I was listening to it, and I've listened to the tracks many, many times.
Oh,
You know,
thank you, man.
you
Appreciate
took
that.
me back to my pre-responsibility days, like I could get lost in and I did. I got lost in the rhythm, right? The only thing I was wishing that I was wishing that I had like the sleeve open with the lyrics so that I could kind of
Oh,
go with it.
yeah.
But yeah, I hit that, and then and I don't mean anything by this, but like, whenever you listen to something, you always think, oh, it sound a little bit of it sounds like this or a little bit of it sounds like that, and you took me
Yeah.
back to, for me, there were these little undertones of Ministry. I don't know if you've ever listened to Ministry or
Oh, wow.
suicidal tendencies. There are these little
That's
things
cool.
that I hadn't thought about those bands in a while, right? Now I'm not
Wow.
saying that you are those things, but you made me kind of go back to my,
Go back.
yeah, to my days where I had time to just sit there and open the lyric thing and do that. But
Uh,
that's what you brought out in me, and then I was just like, man, I really like these songs, and we're gonna talk about a couple of them because I have some favorites that are on
that's
repeat and
awesome,
stuff
man.
too. So
Free
um,
responsibilities. I love that. Those were the days, man.
it was like pre-responsibility. I was like, I had more time and I could just it was an opportunity to lose yourself in the music and
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
and I'm pretty sure when the kids heard me listening to it, they're probably like, what's going on with dad right now? Right? But
Is he losing it?
you know but it just gets you into a certain place. um you've talked about a couple of bands, that you like, or that you listen to and things like that, but
Mhm.
is there something or one that has most influenced your musical career, or if not that, because I like to give options here, Jay. I'm an options
Yeah,
guy, right? If not
that's
that,
a tough question.
is it?
Yeah,
Okay,
it
here's the
is.
other option. If you can't, is there someone that you absolutely love working with other than your drummer?
Um, okay, so yeah, bands or artists I can't say, because I have a lot of different artists that I love, um, and in different genres that have made me be who I am right now, and I guess come up with this project as it is. I can say that when I was coming up with the beginning of the idea of Skull Riot, I was listening to a lot of thrash metal. uh, I was back into like Metallica and Megadeth and
Yeah.
Slayer and Testament and all of those guys. So I was trying to evoke that, and I was also back into the punk side of it. But like, let me say this: the screamo part of it, like the screamo, right? And that's where like all my screaming really comes from. So bands like The Used and Finch and Taking Back Sunday and stuff like that. They're
Nice.
like Senses Fail, stuff like that. Those were kind of like the origins of Skull Riot sound, I guess, for or inspiration for Skull
Yeah.
Riot. Um, but artists that I would like to play or share with, man, I would have said Dave Grohl, but now he's canceled, culturally canceled because of what he did. I don't care. Like he's a great artist, man. They can say whatever they want. I
Yeah.
would still want him to play drums in one of my songs. You know. Um, but more than artists, I've been thinking of producers. I've been thinking of engineers. Of like, oh, I would love to make an album with this guy. You know, like for example, like if I had the budget at the time and like the recognition, like if I can make an album with Big Butch, like I would do it in a second. If I can have the opportunity to make an album with Eric Valentine, I'll do it. Like,
Oh yeah.
you know, those are like the guys. If I can have the opportunity to make an album with John Feldman, I would go for it. And I think those three guys would be perfect for like producing something like us, as unique as us. And like, that's what I've been dreaming of more than an artist, to be honest.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome. And you're doing it from a different chair. And you know what? Maybe they're gonna hear this, and maybe someday we'll look back on this recording, on this moment, and they'll be like, "Yeah, man,
Well,
that's when they heard
hopefully, if
it,
you do,
right?"
if you're
Okay.
listening, please
Yeah,
take us
man.
on one song. One
Jay's the
song.
real
That's all we
deal.
need.
Jay's the real deal. So let's do this. Let's get him some of that. Yeah, you know what? And you were saying earlier too, like you talked about how the music, like I don't want to use the word resurgence, but I
Mm,
do see more and more attraction, more growth than I
yeah.
have long in a long time, right? With you know, the trajectory of rock, metal, you know, just the hard rock and I don't want to say coming back. It kind of took a little bit of a pause, or there wasn't a lot going on, and it was like the calm. It was like we were talking about hurricanes earlier, right? It was like
Yeah.
the calm before the storm, you know. And I feel like the hurricane is coming in, and we're getting more stuff like that. And I think sounds like you keep seeing. You released an EP, Too Little, Too Late.
Yeah.
Um, do the songs have a theme to support? um the title, or does the title for the EP carry like, you know, another meaning or um
Um, I never thought of it that way, to be honest. I thought of the title as a little bit of a joke to myself, saying this is too little and it's probably too late to put it out, but I'll just do it because I have to. And if I don't do it now, then I will not do it ever. So,
wow.
uh, that's what I thought of when I put the EP out. I was like, this is too little, too late. But let's see what happens and where this take us. Um,
talk
because
about
I
putting your Talk about putting
originally I
your
wanted
heart
to,
on the sleeve there, right? Like holy.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I originally wanted to come out with an album and 10 songs and that, you know, but
Yeah.
I was dealing with not finding a drummer. Then I was dealing with like not having enough money to play all of it, all the 10 songs and finding an engineer and all of this and blah, blah, blah. So I ended up doing it all myself and then finding Sam and then finding one drummer first for 3 songs and finding Sam for the other 2 songs. And then, so it was like, okay, it needs to come out and maybe too little to put out, but let's see what happens.
Well,
And
let's
that
see,
that's
because
it.
because we're together. We're gonna be chasing lights. That's your
Ah,
new single. You like that, eh?
love
That's
it.
your
I
new
love it.
single. Look, it might be one of my favorites on this EP, but
Okay.
Blood and Crows is a close second.
Is your favorite?
Yeah,
Oh,
like I
interesting. That's interesting. A lot of
right?
people is
Like
liking that slow one. Yeah, the Blood and Crows.
there's
Uh,
a I don't know. You know what it might be? It might be the Blood and Crows might be the bridge for me that takes me
ah,
it's got it's a bit of a gateway song from that softer like it's a little bit more
yeah,
soft. It's a
yeah.
gateway and then it gets me ready for Chasing Lights, and that's where I go, I
Interesting.
don't know which one I like better now because it's like I like to listen to them like in that. But Death versus Fate, same old, like Origami Soul, like they're all good, man. They're all good. Like they all
Thank
got
you.
flow. They got progression and they got flow. And now, like, I'm not even asking you questions. I'm just being a fan of the
Oh
music.
man, love it. Thanks so much, man.
uh,
Appreciate it. You're making me
it,
blush.
is there is there is there any insider info to the song Chasing Lights that you can give us?
Oof. Oh, yeah. For Chasing Lights, it's a combination of two things. One is, and I've always said this, but I've never said the second part, and I will with you. Um, it's this old story of, a band or a rock star making a pact with the devil, right? Um, and we know it is very known, is very used. I wanted to give it my own spin, and my own spin comes from, I had an accident back in Mexico City, and not a lot of people know about this, but I crashed, and I fell asleep on the wheel, and I crashed, um, and thank God I was alive, when I woke up. So instead of like me putting that crash on the song, I was like, okay, what's a more rock star way to die? It's like going on a overdose, and that's why I put it
Mm,
like that on the song. But it comes from that
mm,
own experience of almost kind of like being there, and then putting it together with this mythology of like, okay, maybe I can make a pact with the devil and make me famous, rather rather than die. I don't know. It's just
no,
a
man,
weird,
it's very
weird.
sounds very Stephen Kingish, but wild experience. Thanks for sharing that. Did that event was that a bit of a turning point? Pardon the pun, because we're talking about cars. Was that a turning point in
Of
how
course.
you started to approach life in music?
Um, Maybe not approaching music itself, but definitely life. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was a huge wake up call for me at that point. Um, and I remember it time to time, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm still alive. I still have something to do here, and I'm trying not to make bad decisions or as bad as that one. Um, because I'm pretty sure I'm keep making bad decisions, but hopefully not as bad as that one. Um, so yeah, yeah,
It's
it
hey,
did
look,
change.
man. It's life. We make bad decisions and so that we can make good decisions, Jay.
That's what it's
Um,
all about, right?
it is. Yeah. Like if you make bad decisions and then you just make the next bad decision, man, you're a glutton for punishment. But if you make a bad decision and you learn from it, then you end up
Well,
writing songs like Chasing Lights, right?
you know what they say about bad decisions, they make
Yeah.
great stories
Right. This is it.
and even better songs. So
Um,
yeah,
do we so like as you're telling me all this, I got all these thoughts in my head, these visions. Um, are you videos coming out of the songs? Are we gonna do some graphics
I
and
I wanted to. I had an idea for it, but I run out of budget for it. So I'm still thinking of putting it out as a video. Um, Maybe when the next DP comes out,
yeah,
I'll put the video for Chasing Lights out, and the first single of the EP out, and
awesome.
maybe bridge the two EPs like that. Um, that's my idea so far. But yeah, I do have an idea for that video. I
Yeah,
wanted to do it.
I imagine it's going to be a killer video. Just thinking of the songs and some of the lyrics that you got in there and even what you just explained to us. So something to look forward to. And we scooped here that
Yeah,
you got another EP. Is it in the works?
yeah. It's actually uh 4 songs are completely recorded. We're just waiting for the green light for the mixing engineer, and because I don't want to mix it. I recorded everything,
Yeah.
but I don't want to mix it. I'm too close to it, so I want somebody else to mix this
Yeah.
one. Um, and we're thinking of putting 2 more songs in it and made it a six songs EP. Uh, but I'll have to wait till Sam is available to go into the studio and record those 2 songs.
What are we
Those two
thinking
songs.
the new year for it to come out or sometime in the new year?
Yeah, before we were thinking to come out November.
Oh, wow. That's not
Yeah,
like you're
quick.
you're almost there.
Yeah, at least the first single, you know.
Cool.
So the first single coming out November. We don't have a date yet, but that's the idea. And then December probably do the second single, and then January the third single and the EP come out for January.
So
And then
January, we got some.
in January, our idea is to go into the studio and record the whole album, like a new album with
Oh,
10
wow.
songs. Yeah,
Sweet.
yeah.
So we got some progression. We got a few new singles that'll come out, then the EP, then you got an album. I love it. You know what? You're gonna release this stuff just in time for the Christmas while everybody else is singing about, you know,
Santa and Rudolph
Santa
and
and Christmas bells. We're gonna get some Skull Riot. You know what though? That's cool because maybe we'll get some Skull Riot under the tree. Like that's
oh man, you
right.
know what? I was looking at a lot of these old records, and they they used to come out December 31st or January 1st.
Yeah,
That's when they used to drop the album.
yeah.
Isn't that crazy? I was like, what? This album came out January 1st. Like I was like,
So you know what's interesting? Like for
or they
me,
would come out, or they would come out for Christmas, like so that
yeah,
people can buy it for like
totally.
I was like,
Yeah, yeah. For me right
interesting.
now, it's really hard. Like with the radio station, I get inundated with all the Christmas stuff right now, right? Like all the Christmas songs. Everybody's recording old classics, new classics, making Christmas
Right,
songs. And hey, play my Christmas song, play my Christmas song, right? And I
right,
look, I
right.
love it, and I'll play some Christmas songs, even some rock and roll
Of
Christmas
course.
songs, whatever, right? But it's right now everything's so flooded with Christmas that when you put out something that's not, it kind of stands out. So, right?
Well,
Because you're like,
hopefully,
hey,
yeah.
here's a song. It's not Christmas. Let me listen to that one, right? Because there's only so
Let
many
me,
jingle bells.
yeah, that you can take, right?
Right, right.
Yeah,
Let me
yeah.
ask this. So you're doing all this recording. Um, are you at a point where your live shows have the same sound as your studio sound?
Well, actually, right now we don't use any backing tracks or anything like that. So everything that we put in the studio is basically what I tried to replicate live.
Nice.
I mean, obviously, the only difference is that in the studio, I layer stuff and I play individual lines of it instead of like everything at once. But um, live is the same. It's just the same thing. We're not, and that's another thing that deliberately I wanted to get away from was using backing tracks. Like I want to keep this real. I want to keep it as raw as possible and as honest as possible
Yeah.
in the live situation. So I think the recording needs to um, reflect that as well from us, you know.
Yeah.
So
Honesty,
because
honesty in
I
music.
hate it. Yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt. I just hate
No.
people. I just hate people in general. No, I just hate bands, you know, that have a great sound on the record and then you see them live and it's nothing like it. And
Yeah.
it's like very disappointing. Um, so that's it. That's where I come from.
No, I was gonna say, and I agree with you, honesty is part of the art. And there's a lot that sometimes gets lost in that. But when I think about, some of my favorites, it's more honest music. Staying with this just for a second,
Yeah.
a lot of your songs, you got a lot of like rage energy, right?
Mhm.
Is it easier to get in front of a live audience and do that? Like how do you prep when you go to record it in the studio? Like how do you like in the audience, like in the thing, like in the when you're playing in front
Yeah.
of an audience, you feed off the energy, right? How do
Yeah.
you capture what you do like with that hard energy in the studio?
Oh, that's a good question. Honestly, I record by myself. So I kind of like just go through the motions of zoning in and just trying to tap into the emotion that I'm trying to convey in this song and these lyrics, and try to focus in the sound that I want the vocals to be in. Again, coming from my insecurities of like, oh, is this sounding good? Does this sound like shit? Like, this doesn't sound good. Let me try it again and do it again. And but at least I don't have anyone here judging me. Like, do it again. You're off a little bit. Like, it's I'm dealing with myself, but at the same time, that gives me the opportunity of just expressing without disregard of anything. So I can scream as many times as I want in as many ways as I can until I found the right one. And I'm like, this one sounds good. Let me
Yeah.
let me do that one. That's how I do it. That and 2 liters of water.
Do you have like you're drinking water on stage too when you do it or
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, I can't do it without water.
wild.
But now I found this tea lemonade
Oh
from
yeah.
Liquid Death.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that one is helping more than the water, to be honest. Like it kind
Yeah,
of like
I
smoothens the throat in a way.
I can't remember. I was talking to somebody else. I was interviewing somebody else and they said they had some sort of lemon concoction that they were a singer too and they were using some sort of
Yeah,
lemon concoction. I can't remember. I have to go back in my archives and think about it. But that's cool that stay hydrated. Stay hydrated, man. It's important.
yeah, absolutely.
Jay, where can fans follow you on socials? What's your preference?
Um, so right now we only have like Instagram and YouTube,
Yeah.
but everything is Skull Riot Music. So very easy. If you want to send us even an email, it could be skullriotmusic@gmail.com.
Oh,
So
there we go.
everything's Skull Riot Music. Very easy to find us, follow us. We'll follow back. We can chat. We'll be happy to welcome you to the Riot family.
That's awesome. I was looking at your Instagram, by the way, at Skull Riot Music on Insta. You got a
Yeah.
couple of killer t-shirts there.
Thank you. I know, right? It's really cool. Both designs are made by this German um, awesome dude that I we started like he liked our band, he liked the music, and he was like, "Hey, if you ever need something, let me know. I want to make a flyer for you." And it's like, "Oh, cool, man! Like, yeah, where are you from?" I'm in Germany. I'm like, "What?" So that was really cool, globalization at its best, and we ended up like talking a lot and about music and this and that. And I saw his designs and I was like, hey, I want you to make our first t-shirts. Would you be down? And he was like, absolutely. What do you want? And I was like, these are the ideas. And he was like, oh, say less. Let me. And in one day, he throws that design. I was like, that's it, man. Like, that's sick. I want this on a t-shirt.
So how do if
So
somebody
shout out
wants
to
a
him.
if somebody wants a t-shirt, how do they get it?
Okay, so here's the tricky thing. I'm in the process of building the web page
All
and
right.
building the Shopify and whatnot so that we can have somewhere to send it to and where people can buy it from. Because I just made like one right now just to see how it printed, and we didn't like it, so we're gonna go with another guy to make another
Yeah.
demo, and if we do like it, then we'll go with that, and then we'll make some t-shirts to sell. But that needs to happen this month.
They look
But
awesome. Like I
just
have to
man, Send me an email and your address, and I'll get you two of them for sure.
Like
Just
these are killer t-shirts. Like I was looking at them and I'm like, I love these shirts. Like
thank
again,
you.
I and it's hard because I saw the first one. It's got the skull right. It's got the red lettering. It's got just the one skull and the skeleton on
Yeah,
top. And I was like, oh, that's solid, right? And then I look over and I see the other one. It's got the green skull right and it's got the bat and it's all the little skulls. And I'm like, there's
yeah.
just something about these that I'm like, they look they look right.
It goes with the music. I
Right?
love it.
It just does.
Yeah, absolutely. That's
Yeah.
well, that's the whole idea. And thank you, man, for noticing. Thank you for liking them. It really means the world to us.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah. I'm so desperate about having those t-shirts out that you're not the first person to ask, like, where can I get one of this? And I'm like, "Oh, so sorry,
It's
right
hard.
now we can't, but as soon as I have one, I'll send you one. um and it's just frustrating, but I also don't want to deliver a
Yeah.
just low quality
Yeah.
stuff. I want people that's going to spend their money to have something they want to use, and that it will last for them, at least more than anything else you can buy somewhere else, like,
Jay, based on everything we just talked about music wise, I would expect, nothing less than you're gonna make sure that it's something that you're proud of and that is quality. Look,
Absolutely.
man, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for doing this with
Thank
me.
you.
And I know like I've asked you a lot of different things, and I always say that to everybody. I probably drive everybody crazy with all the crazy questions I come up with, but
No,
uh,
I love it, man.
opportunity at the end always. Is there anything you want to leave us with before, you get back to your music and making sure that the ground is not shaken from the earthquakes, but shaken from Skull Riot music over there in
Hell yeah. Amen to that. Man, thank you. I just have nothing else to say, but thank you for opening the space for us, for your beautiful questions and your time, and for just taking the time to listen to our music and actually make some research on it. And that's more than I can ask for, man. I appreciate it. Love all the way from here all the way to Canada over there, bro. Appreciate it.
You'll be left to figure out if it's death or fate, but one thing is certain. It's not quite the same old as we go chasing lights with Jay Ferron, whose origami soul delivers blood and crows, as we rock with the metal gods who say it's never too little too late to rock with Skull Riot. Thank you, Jay. Wishing you the best with the new tunes, and we're looking forward to the t-shirts and more and connecting with you again. Take care.
Thank you.